At a press conference earlier this week, he delivered what he called the last meal to Antoine Echols, a cheese sandwich and some French fries before this execution, he hopes.
What time is it? Execution time! Bring it out, what time is it? Execution time! What time is it? Execution time! What time is it?
I guess in the best of Las Vegas traditions, he probably ordered that sandwich and fries up from room service at about 3 a.m., right?
He really is a remarkable character, Jim. Even promoters who he has dissed have started to show respect for him because he's made such a fuss over being overlooked that he's starting to be looked at in a very favorable light now. He's brought that to himself. He's turned a negative into a positive.
He's become such a statesman. He's such an intelligent guy. He's so likable that we haven't even mentioned the 4 years he spent in prison doing hard time because it's hard to see it as a factor in his life anymore. He's come so far from that. He's an entirely different person. Probably the second most voluminous talker in the sport behind the incomparable Kevin Kelly.
He said that they put him together with Kelly and Kelly just blew him away.
A rare Hopkins loss. Here's a closer look at the executioner.
What he says is that without him, the hotbed of boxing of Philadelphia would be dead. His goal now, 15 successful defenses of the middleweight title, never been done before, although Carlos Monzon did it when it was an undisputed championship. And he says when he achieves that, he'll be able to sell all the tapes and gloves that he now gives away for free.
They're ready, we're ready. Let's go to Mark Barrow for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, Arthur Palulo's Banner Promotions in association with the Venetian Resort Hotel Casino and Budweiser, the undisputed, undefeated king of beers, this Bud's for you, presents the HBO Boxing After Dark main event of the evening, 12 rounds for the IBF Middleweight Championship of the world. Your judges at ringside are, from Los Angeles, California, Robert Byrd, and from Las Vegas, Bill Graham and Dave Moretti. Your referee for this event, also from fabulous Las Vegas, Tony Weeks. Introducing now the principals first in the blue corner, to my left, wearing the gold trunks with the black trim. He weighs in at 160 pounds. His professional record reads 24 victories, 3 defeats, 1 draw, and 23 wins coming by way of knockout. He hails from Davenport, Iowa, the USBA and NABF middleweight champion and the challenger, Antoine Kid Dynamite Echols. His opponent in the red corner, wearing the black trunks with the silver trim, he weighs in at 158 1/2 pounds. His professional record reads 37 victories, 2 defeats, 1 draw, and 27 wins coming by way of knockout. He hails from Philadelphia, PA, the IBF middleweight champion of the world, Bernard the Executioner Hopkins. 12 rounds for the IBF middleweight championship of the world.
Let's go one chief second. Only one chief. Come on, Bernard. One chief. Okay. Right here is good. Right here is good. Anything below that is a low blow. All right. You already received your instructions in your dressing room. I want a good, clean fight. Obey my commands at all times. Above all, protect yourselves at all times. Any questions from the champion's corner? Any questions from the challenger's corner? Let's go.
The question we have is Echols a year better or just a year older? Since he gave a pretty good challenge to Bernard Hopkins.
Hopkins thinks he knows the answer. We're about to find out. In Bernard Hopkins' tour of duty as the middleweight champion, this is the third time that he has fought a rematch against one of his challengers. In both previous instances against Segundo Mercado and Robert Allen, Hopkins won the rematch more easily than he won the first fight.
Yes, because he's improving. It's very, very balanced out fight.
And he's a thinking man's fighter, Emmanuel.
Yeah, he's becoming a complete prize fighter. And fights a lot different than the typical old stereotype Philadelphia middleweights, which is primarily punchers. He's become a very good boxer in addition to becoming always was a good puncher.
Hopkins likes to point out that he's the only Philadelphia-born fighter to have won the middleweight championship. And there have been some great middleweights out of Philadelphia, but as Bernard points out, Joe Giardello was born in Brooklyn. So therefore, he's the only Philly-born one to win the middleweight title. Bernard pays attention to detail.
Yes, he does.
Joey Giardello was a Philadelphia fighter.
No question. Well, Echols promised a high work rate. Said that he would be able to throw about 90 punches around. He hasn't gotten off at anywhere near that rate in the first minute.
Echols is fighting a much more defensive fight, this fight, as compared to the first fight. And it's strangely, Hopkins is the aggressive fighter.
Well, he's trying to pace himself because in the second half of that fight, Hopkins just rolled over him and threw him.
In the first round of their first fight, Echols was able to surprise Hopkins, hitting him as the referee broke the two of them, and he decked him. The referee said that it was not a legal punch. It didn't count as a knockdown, but Hopkins was rocked.
Stop.
Then, as Emmanuel Stewart pointed out, and as Larry confirmed, it was Hopkins who took over in the middle rounds of the fight and dominated the latter half. And he hits him on the break again. And Hopkins fires back. And Tony Weeks will tell him.
I want you both in the locker room. Cut the bullshit out. Both of you. Cut the bullshit out. Step back. Let's go.
That's one of the official rules of boxing. Cut the bullshit.
Yeah, but you know, sometimes in the heat of battle, when you got high-strung athletes, sometimes that happens. And I think that I don't think anyone did anything purposely in that situation. It just happened. And I think the referee made a good call. He just warned both of them without taking a point away.
Hopkins lands a right hand across the top that backs Echols back up. Now Echols begins to brawl, and Hopkins, more accurate, bangs him into the ropes with a chopping right hand inside. And they're still swinging after the bell. Looks like we might have a fair amount of that stuff.
All right, now listen to me. Listen to me. Settle down. You got this guy where you want him at, okay? You got him where you want him at. Don't get careless. Don't get wild. All right? Look at this Vaseline, man.
I got it. Okay, you got me? Jab, jab, right hand. Keep control now. He's scared. He's scared, but cut him off. Cut him off. Simmer down, relax. Relax. Jab, jab, right hand. Okay? Jab, jab, right hand over top of his mouth. His left hand is low. Step back, bam!
Let's see what happened when they got into this tussle. Now that's pretty nifty from Davenport, Iowa. He complained to the referee. And while the referee was moving in, he took a shot at Hopkins, and Hopkins, like a Philadelphia fighter, took a shot right back at him.
Echols said Davenport has some tough streets to go along with the Mississippi River and a beautiful little minor league ballpark right by the river.
I think Echols is trying to step it up a little bit now. He realized he's giving too much respect to Hopkins. But Hopkins, even though he's a little bit taller, he has this tendency sometimes to kind of lean in, bending over to the right, as if he's going into a clinch, and then to throw an effective punch.
Quick right hand lead lands for Hopkins there. Hopkins' last title defense on HBO last May in Indianapolis against a Canadian challenger named Sid Vanderpool was a messy, foul-filled affair. And this one promises more of the same. A punch to the back of the head. Echols goes down. I didn't think he hit him that hard.
It didn't seem like he hit him that hard to me. But nevertheless, it could have been a punch that he didn't see, as he was relaxed. He thought it was in the clinch.
That was a definite foul, however, and I'm just wondering what the consequences could be here. Harold Letterman, what could happen here?
Okay, Larry, there's no question it was a foul. At the very least, you should take 1 point and give the guy 5 minutes to recover from this. I wouldn't call it an intentional foul because it was in the heat of battle, but it certainly was a foul.
Here we go, time in.
I mean, I would give him 5 minutes. He doesn't.
Or I think did he take a point?
He didn't take a point, and he didn't ask the guy if he wants to continue. He just said time in. I would have said to the guy, you want 5 minutes to,
And I think maybe the reason for that is what happened earlier in the first round, since they were both hitting after the bell, that referee acted as though that was just a continuation of it.
Or I think he might have thought that Echols turned his back on the punch. That Echols turned away as Hopkins was firing, and therefore put himself in position to get hit in the back of the head.
If it ends up getting into a brawl, I'm quite sure that Hopkins is going to have the advantage of that coming from Philadelphia.
Well, it looks like it's going to be a messy brawl. And this referee, Tony Weeks, has taken a lot of flack from Boxing Insiders in the last week for what was perceived as sloppy handling of David Reed's win over Carino Garcia here a week ago.
Well, he's in a rough situation tonight.
Weeks has a chance to bounce back if he can do a good job with this, or let himself in for more criticism if he has a tough time with what looks as though it's going to be an awkward battle. Hopkins lands a right hand. Another right hand lands for Hopkins.
The punch that Hopkins is seemingly gambling on is primarily getting that sneaky right hand over Echols' shoulder as he leans in close to him as if he's going into a clinch, and then instead shoots a right hand.
More and more, it looks as though the fight will favor the man who can come up with unorthodox but effective offense.
Yes.
Bernard Hopkins' great experience could stand him in good stead.
And able to fight from different angles.
Keep holding. Sit down, sit down. I want you to keep doing a jab and right hand. Underneath, get dirty with this one. Okay? Okay?
Edron, wake up, baby.
Jabbing.
Look,
Jab,
you're
right
doing
hand.
a beautiful job, baby.
Oh. Jab, right hand, left hook.
You'll pick him off, son. You'll pick him off. Now you're getting that left hand to work right. Do what you know how to do best.
Left hand right now, just jab, jab.
Stay in the center of the ring, baby.
Let's take a look and see that rabbit punch and whether it was because of a, well, clearly a foul. This was not a case of Bernard Hopkins or Echols turning away from him in mid-punch.
Yep, you're right. Then he couldn't stay in the punch. That was clear on the replay. Well, the first two rounds were a mess. Hopkins so far has thrown more and landed more than Echols.
But you got two punches in here still, which means this fight's going to be exciting until it ends. It's not going to be any moment that either one of these guys could relax.
Right hand lands for Echols.
As the fight progresses on, I think it's going to be much more similar to the first fight, where the vast experience of Hopkins is going to be a much bigger dominating factor.
Here's that sneaky right hand you talked about, Emmanuel.
He's going to continue to keep shooting the short right hand over the shoulder. He's barely missing, but as Echols gets tired and his judgment falls off, you're going to find him connecting with the right hand more often.
Good quick left by Hopkins, and he makes Echols miss.
This is the fight that no one can make a mistake in, whether it's in a clinch or whether it's at long range. Both guys are punching active punches, a lot of power, but as the fight goes on, I can see more and more that Hopkins is going to take a wider and wider advantage going down the stretch. I don't think that Echols has had the amount of experience, whereas once he gets tired, that he can fight off of his experience. Whereas Hopkins will do things instinctively, I think, after he gets tired, simply because of having had so many professional fights.
Hopkins with 40 fights. Yeah, 40 fights, most of them at the championship level.
Yes.
What kind of fighter would Echols be if he had come to the Kronk gym when he was 17 or 18?
Well, he'd have to have been a much better fighter. And what he's accomplished, coming from Iowa, I think, was basically a lot because of natural talent and those amateur tournaments. And they kept him up in the Olympic camp up there training, so he got a chance to get good training. But once he goes back to Iowa, there's nothing for him to spar with that was going to keep his tools sharp, so to say.
James Toney left Davenport, Iowa, moved to Southern California, trained with Joe Goosen.
Michael Nunn, excuse me.
Eventually, Nunn lost his middleweight title and was knocked out by James Toney.
That's right, when he finally went back to Iowa.
Both Nunn and Toney still fighting, incidentally.
Yes.
Now Echols is constantly turning his back into Hopkins.
Stop punching. It's inexperience.
It's inexperience. It's an amateur move.
For boxing.
Time. All right, good timing. Let's go.
Echols has a skirt over his trunks.
I believe it was Hector Camacho who first developed the skirt as a viable boxing garment. Harold, how do you have it so far?
Okay, Jim, I got a 29-28, 2 rounds to 1. Bernard Hopkins. He easily won the first 2 rounds with a lot of clean punches, but then he just gave the 3rd round away. He didn't punch. Echols just came out and jib, and Bernard waited. I don't know what he was doing in the 3rd round. And I got to tell you something, Jim. I don't want to belabor a point, but a rabbit punch could really be fatal. You can't hit a guy in the brainstem, in the back of the head, the lower part of the brain or the upper part of the neck. It's absolutely very, very dangerous.
It wasn't that hard a punch, but yes, it is dangerous to land one in that location. There was a terrific straight right hand by Hopkins.
The right hands are starting to find the range now.
Yep, that right hand was right on the money.
And at this stage here, Hopkins seems to be a little bit more mentally alert and refreshed than Echols.
Echols beginning to ring shots. Hopkins will find some openings up the middle as he does.
Yes, he's going to take advantage of a lot of mistakes that Echols is making. You can see Hopkins starting to capitalize on him now. I think at this stage, the referee seriously going to have to look at possibly taking some points. Particularly after the guy spins the guy completely around. I mean, you had time to realize that you have an advantage over the man, so there's no need to keep continually landing punches like that.
Well, you don't want to see the man be hit by rabbit punches, but still, he should have to suffer some consequences for acting in an amateur fashion.
Right hand as Echols gets himself out of position with what Larry accurately called amateurish ring generalship. So Hopkins has landed 2 devastating punches in this round.
at this stage, Hopkins feels he has complete control over the fight. Even though Echols is still very dangerous, he feels himself that it's just a matter of time.
Stop punching. Stop punching.
But in some ways, if a guy is strong, and Echols is, the more awkward he is, the more dangerous he can be.
That's very correct. But I think the biggest danger that Hopkins has is possibly putting himself in a position to get disqualified.
Although since Tony Weeks hasn't penalized him yet, you figure he's a distance away from that.
That's right. If he continues to keep hitting him as soon as he gets him to turn around, sooner or later the referee's going to start taking a point. And if Echols goes down, he may end up having to disqualify him.
Okay, you with me? Be with me, son. Be with me. Be with me, son. Be with me. Okay, I don't want one punch. I want combination of punches, son. Don't worry about one shot. Run them shots inside. Run them in there.
Round 5. I love round 5.
One of your favorites, huh? I'll tell you what, round 6 won't be bad either.
Suck it up. You understand? And you see the man is showing you the right hand. Don't pull back from it.
Antoine, if he gets you on the ropes like that, the referee ain't calling no points, okay? So you hit him in the back of the head too, okay? You gotta get...
Bernard Hopkins throws that right hand from every place in the ring.
Stay in your corner, Bernard. Stay in your corner. Stay in your corner.
Echols paid for turning 90 degrees away from him, right into the punch.
And by CompuBox numbers, Hopkins landed 54% of his power shots in that last round. Emmanuel, you talked about the possibility of Hopkins, who's in control of the fight, getting himself into a position where he could be disqualified. Last fall in Detroit, when your man Prince Nassim Hamed body slammed Cesar Soto, was your heart in your throat?
Yes, because it was very obvious and flagrant. But the only thing that helped in that case was the fact that Soto was butting him continuously. And the referee took a whole round away from Hamed. I said, if you're going to take points away, to take points from both of them. But it was just so flagrant, and that's what made it look so bad. But in this case here, both of these guys are big punchers, and they both like to throw the right hand, but both guys are pretty good at countering when you miss with a right hand, particularly Hopkins. So if you throw your right hand at Hopkins, you're taking a big risk of getting countered with the right hand also.
Hopkins is making a pretty impressive case for his ability to show skills even amid an extremely awkward fight.
He's showing a lot of experience. See, that's what I'm saying. Echols threw a right hand and got countered with a right uppercut at the same time.
Echols gets himself out of position, and Hopkins lands a little right hand. Not a powerful punch, but it connects. Well, this is not pretty. You expect maybe Marcus Trinidad will be a prettier fight.
Yeah, at this point in the stage right here, it's a still exciting fight, but you can see the experience level, the championship rounds is beginning to show more for Hopkins. And it's just a matter of time, I think, eventually, unless he gets killed with one punch, that he'll eventually be able to knock out Echols. And once again, it's the counter punch again. Eventually, Echols is going to be gun sharp of throwing his right hand, because every time he's throwing it at this point in time, he's getting countered with right hands.
Partially that's because Echols lunges when he punches.
He lunges, he loses his balance on his right hand. And Hopkins is from the old school. He's rolling his shoulders a lot to make him lose his balance even more by letting him miss completely. And then he counter punches with a counter right hand. Recent Ring Magazine listing of the 20 greatest middleweights of all time,
They listed Hopkins 16th, but the copy suggested we're probably underselling him because he's an active fighter. When he retires, he might be in the top 10.
He's been a very active fighter, and he's improving so much. That's what's so interesting to me, as compared to when he first fought for the middleweight title, when he fought Roy Jones, which he was inexperienced, first big fight, never had the Olympic experience that Roy had and all of the great amateur fights.
Back there, give some relaxation. Give me that breathe. Give me that breathe.
Draw it up. Draw it up.
Put me on my shorts.
Sit down, looking, son. You're trying a little too hard in there. Let's go back to your boxing skills. You can box. Come to the center of the ring, double those shots up, and give me the shot I'm looking for. That's all.
You got to get dirty with him. Hit him back in the cup. Okay, sure. Okay? Hit him back in the cup.
You understand what I'm saying?
Let's go.
Okay. Hit you 2 minutes. Pick up your pace.
Stay in your corner. Let's go.
Round 6 of a scheduled 12. Bernard Hopkins looking to extend his streak of successful middleweight title defenses to 12. Another right hand counter by Hopkins off of a right hand by Echols. And as Echols pauses to try to talk to Tony Weeks, Hopkins hits him, and Echols retaliates by body slamming Hopkins.
And Hopkins is acting as though he's really hurt his shoulder badly. He seems to be in agony there. He landed directly on that right shoulder.
Bernard is faking.
Well, you could easily get a separated shoulder there. Although Antoine Echols is telling our ringside camera across the ring that Hopkins is faking right now. Harold Letterman, give us some more of your input here.
Jim, without question, Bernard Hopkins is going to win this fight by a disqualification. At the end of 2 rounds, we heard Echols' second tell him, go out and foul him. And he just picked him up and dumped him. And Bernard may have a dislocated shoulder without question. Absolutely, Antoine Echols should be disqualified.
Go to the scorecards.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. No scorecards. It's a disqualification for Echols, for Hopkins, and that's all there is to it.
Unless, of course, Hopkins chooses to fight again. And it's hard for me to imagine that he would after this.
I doubt if he's going to fight anymore. And, you know, it was such a flagrant, much as we were saying with Hamed. And I'm quite sure he's not faking it because he was winning the fight.
No, it's totally intentional, the foul.
Well, a lot depends on the condition of that right shoulder, which is what he landed on. Evidently, he's elected to fight.
You want to fight?
Nah,
hold on, stay right there. Hey, over there.
I imagine Bowie Fisher, Hopkins' trainer, is wishing that Bernard would take advantage of the opportunity to walk back to the dressing room with another win.
Well, and also I think he has to be looked at by a physician, by trainers.
Take 2 points. Okay, hold on. Stay right here. Okay. So, 2 points right over here. Hey, judge. 2 points over here. 2 points over here. Listen, get over here. The fight, listen to me. The fight is going to continue. Listen. Hold on. The fight is going to continue. Both of you guys are flirting with disqualification. Okay, you cannot pick up. Listen, because you cannot pick somebody up and just throw them down. Now listen. The fight is going to continue. We're going to keep it clean. Hold it right there. Stay right there. Listen to me. The fight is going to continue. You listen to me, Bernard. You could be disqualified too. You hear me? Listen to me. You could be disqualified too. So listen to my commands. Okay, here we go. Time in. Let's go.
I wonder whether this is a little vainglorious by Hopkins.
Yes, I would have liked it if I saw a doctor to look at the shoulder to see some movement in the right shoulder. Because at this stage here, I don't know really what the condition of the right shoulder is.
I find myself wondering what happens a round from now if the shoulder stiffens up and he can't go on.
It's going to be very interesting. And also, in his state of mind, he may do something himself flagrant back to Echols and possibly put himself in a position.
Guys, Bernard Hopkins hasn't thrown a right hand since he stood up. Harold Letterman, what else?
Jim, let me tell you, a doctor did take a look at Hopkins. That was the female in the ring. Was Dr. Margaret Goodman. She did check out Bernard Hopkins, and Bernard said he elected to fight, so she let it go. But Tony Weeks called it an intentional foul, and Bernard Hopkins gets 2 points that they took from Antoine Echols for the intentional foul.
But he has not thrown a single right hand in more than 40 seconds of boxing since he stood up.
Jim, under the rules, okay, if the fight gets stopped before the end because of the intentional foul, because of the shoulder injury, Antoine Echols can't win the fight. If he's ahead, the fight's a draw, and Hopkins keeps the title.
So if a round or two from now, if Hopkins says, you know what, my right shoulder's stiffening up and I can't fight, he could still win by DQ.
Absolutely. They go to the scorecards. If Hopkins is ahead, he wins. If Antoine Echols is ahead, it's a technical draw. If it's a draw, if it's even, then it's a draw.
Could that be why Hopkins chose to continue fighting Emmanuel? Because he figures he's well ahead on the scorecards anyway?
And I don't think he was aware of the rule. I think he really is just upset. He's angry and he wants to get even.
And he still hasn't thrown the right hand.
No, he has
Jim.
not thrown that right hand.
It's like he's going to say, okay, I'm going to show you what a Philadelphia fighter can do. I'm going to beat you one-handed now.
He's put on a beautiful display of boxing at this point in time, but sooner or later, the right hand is going to probably have to be a factor in the fight.
Dr. Margaret Goodman asked Hopkins if he was okay. He said his shoulder was fine and he wanted to fight. He has not thrown a right hand since standing up.
Pop the chain! Pop the chain! Pop the chain!
It is not completely out of the question that Hopkins could go on and win the fight with one hand. We've seen guys win fights with one hand, particularly if it's the left.
But I wonder if the corner is picking up on the fact that he hasn't thrown the right. Let's hear what they have to say.
Don't worry about trying to get this guy with one big shot. Let's go back to boxing because you're the best fighter in the ring. All right? You're the best fighter out there. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Good point.
Don't be careless on the break and keep your hands up.
How's your shoulder? I want you to see me. Let me see you lift it. You can't lift it. We can't let you continue.
I can't lose the belt like that.
Let me see you lift your arm. Can you lift
There
your
you
arm?
go.
It's all right.
It's all right.
Push against me. Okay. Can you use your right hand, okay?
I'm using left right now.
All right. I want you to try and lift up again.
Can't. No, leave it alone. You'll make it less hurry.
All right.
It'll clear up. It'll clear up.
This fight should be stopped.
That fight's going to have to be stopped.
He's telling the doctor that he can't raise his right arm. Why is he going on with his title at stake?
Well, you heard him say, I can't lose the belt that way.
He's not going to lose the belt that way. And
I know.
The
I don't understand why he said it.
The people in the corner are not giving him the proper instructions.
And you know, the arm is, I think, severely damaged to the degree just of wrestling inside, just any type of a contact or twisting of the shoulder.
Harold, what does your scorecard show?
Well, Jim, I've got it 59-53, 5 rounds to 1, Bernard Hopkins, because that 6th round becomes a 10-7 round when Antoine Echols loses 2 points because of the intentional foul. But I totally agree with Larry Merchant because of the fact that Bernard Hopkins doesn't realize that if the fight is stopped, he can't lose his title. I think Larry's right. He just thinks that if the fight gets stopped, he loses.
That comes from his anger at the system.
He threw a right-hand punch.
Yeah,
He threw 2 good right hands.
You know, Jim, we've talked about his anger at the system.
Yep.
And he's afraid that somehow the system will do him in if he doesn't fight his way out of this.
He expects to get cheated. It's his mindset from the beginning.
I don't think he's educated or aware of the rules, actually, what would be in effect in case the fight was stopped.
Yeah, but he's supposed to have cornermen who do know the rules.
He's throwing the right hand freely now. And looking all right doing it. There's a big left hand by Hopkins. And there's a right hand over the top by Echols. And Hopkins counters with the right again. And pounds away to the body. This is getting very interesting now.
You know, I think when I'm watching Bernard Hopkins, I think of something that the great Gil Clancy once said about old-time fighters. He said they were hard men.
Hard on the inside.
And Bernard Hopkins is a hard man.
This is a very impressive fight for him, I think, for the public.
More right hands by Hopkins. And the last one stunned Antoine Echols. Well, I guess we don't have to worry that his arm's going to fall off. Echols throws Hopkins down. Hopkins looks at Tony Weeks. Weeks is going to let that one go. Now Echols stands in the corner as though disgusted with something. Why should he be disgusted? He didn't get penalized for that.
He probably was thinking he was going to take another round from him.
Right hand lands for Echols.
Good right hand.
A knockdown for Hopkins.
With the left hook.
With the left, yes.
Something that he wasn't looking for. No one.
Okay, here we go. Round 7 comes to a close, and Bernard Hopkins' lead in the fight gets bigger.
This is turned out to be a very exciting fight.
How you doing? He's all right. He's all right. He's fine. Listen, you're doing good when you're jabbing. When you're setting up with the jab, you're doing great. You're doing great. You understand? Okay?
If you can double that shot up inside for me, you're home free.
Easy, real easy.
All right?
Yeah, real easy with it. Now you're legend. Now adversity came.
Stop the legs, stop the legs, stop the legs.
He's been using his left hand so much, suddenly the right comes in there, and it's followed by the left.
Well, it started with a left hook that I think Echols had just finished an exchange.
Well, and Echols was hurt,
yeah, he
and
did,
Hopkins had the sense to jump on him.
Yes, he did. Experience.
In round 7,
Time.
over there. And perhaps fighting with a compromised right shoulder, Hopkins landed 25 of 39 punches, including 22 out of 25 power shots. Now there's a delay as they get rid of a wet spot in Echols' corner. And incidentally, Harold Lutterman is right. There is a second in Echols' corner who told Antoine to foul after the second round.
I missed that.
They told him to hit him in the cup.
And in reference to previous fouls, he said, "You're doing a beautiful job."
I'm sorry I missed that. I've never heard anything quite like that.
A hard right hand by Hopkins wobbles Echols again. Bernard Hopkins is looking for a very satisfying knockout in this fight.
Stop punching. Here we go.
Big right hand by Hopkins coming up from the bottom. Echols' balance is bad enough to begin with. When he gets wobbly, it looks like he's going down all the time.
Well, he takes a good punch, evidently.
Got a good
and he's still dangerous himself. The only thing that still is, to me, my biggest concern is someone still may do something to get disqualified.
Stop punching.
Echols countering off the ropes, but Hopkins just keeps coming.
Stop punching. Let him go. Get off him.
That's probably the most discouraging thing that's happened to Echols in the fight, to finally get a right hand in. And the next thing that happens, he gets hit by a right hand.
Both guys are still punching with tremendous firepower this late in the fight, especially at the pace that they're going, which is a little bit unusual. And both guys are dangerous.
Both guys are strong. Both guys are pretty well conditioned. And they don't like each other with the damn.
They don't like each other.
Stop punching. I get you. Stop punching.
1 point, hold him behind the head. 1 point, hold him behind the head. 1 point, hold him behind the head.
Now listen to me. Let's cut this out. Fight like a champion. Here we go. Time in. Let's go.
Well, if Tony Weeks thought he had a challenge a week ago handling David Reed's battle with Karina Garcia and a lot of low blows, he had no idea what he was in store for tonight. This has been something. It just never stops.
Nope.
There have been a cavalcade of oddities from the beginning of the fight.
You're in control. You're in control of this fight.
Antoine Echols hits Bernard Hopkins after a break. Just there. Round 2. Bernard Hopkins hits Antoine Echols in the back of the head. Right there. Round 6. A viciously upset Echols body slams Hopkins in a neutral corner. 28 seconds into the round. And at the time, seems to injure Hopkins' right shoulder. But Hopkins keeps fighting. And in round 7, Bernard Hopkins knocks Echols through the ropes and out of the ring. What else? Meanwhile, Hopkins was penalized in the last round, losing a point for holding and hitting. And now there's a delay.
Well, there's a delay because the corner of Echols, which is as awkward as Echols is, just kicked over a bucket of ice. I don't know who had advised him to foul Hopkins early in the fight. He ought to be fined. This is big-time professional boxing, and I'm just afraid that these guys aren't up to the task, although Echols is certainly a dangerous fighter.
Okay, here we go. Time in.
Both of these guys are so emotionally charged up into this fight, they don't need any encouragement towards doing anything illegal.
Stop punching. Okay.
Now, what does a fighter think when he comes back to the corner after 8 rounds of this and his trainer says, you're in control of the fight?
You know, I hope that the fighter is fully aware of the fact that he's not telling him the truth.
I mean, how do you believe anything the trainer's going to say if he can't tell you the truth in the middle of a fight?
Always tell your fighter the truth. Always. And a lot of these guys are really just cheerleaders. That's what they are. And not only that, he doesn't tell them anything specifically to do, except maybe to hit him in the cup.
Oh! Hopkins very close to another rabbit punch. But he missed. And Weeks pulls them apart. There's a pattern that has existed throughout the fight. Echols tries looping right hands. Hopkins counters them with straighter right hands.
Counters them with a counter right hand. But I think both guys have surprised me with their ability to take a punch.
Stop punching. Stop punching. Action. Right hook. Right hook to the body. Action. Go off his hand. Stop punching. Stop punching. Here we go. Pulling, Max. Pulling. Stop punching. Stop. I got you. Pulling, Max. Pulling right there. Pulling, Max.
Weeks once again warning Hopkins about holding and hitting. Bernard's already lost a point. So conceivably, 2 more instances of holding and hitting could cost him his title.
That's possible. But the fact that he lost the point, he won the round, I believe, anyway, so that just meant that the round was a draw round.
Great right hand by Hopkins landed. Echols trying to come back to the body.
Stop punching. I got you.
You better be in condition if you're going to go in against Antoine Echols, who will test you in every way.
Yes, it is. And I tell you what, after this fight here, The last thing that Hopkins wants to look up and find is that Echols is mandatory again next year. That's for sure.
Corruption.
Yes, they would never have an easy fight between the two of them.
Bernard smiling as he goes to his corner.
Get your mind on your job. Keep your mind on your job, all right?
How could it only be round 10? Feels like about 30 rounds.
Contain the box. Don't be trying to pop him out there with one shot. You're the best out there. You're looking great. Just don't gamble.
This is round 10.
I like round 10. I really do. It's a famous and legendary round. Remember round 10 of Bo Holyfield won in 1992? This round 10 should be every bit that good, based on what we just saw there.
That's exactly what I was thinking about.
Underneath
sure
and over. Okay, he grab that hand and break away with the other hand. You got to dog him. You got to dog him, baby. You got to dog him. You understand? Okay, you got to dog him.
They're not giving Echols any specific instructions. It's always to dog him, to hit him below the belt. You're doing great, baby. He's scared of you.
Well, and he fired Joe Goosen 3 weeks ago because he felt abandoned by Goosen when Joe brought Ben Tacky here for his fight on the undercard of Louis Tua. So he's with the men he's been with for a long time out of Davenport. Hey, Harold, how do you have it so far?
Okay, Jim, in round 8, when Bernard Hopkins lost the point for holding behind the head, that became a 9-9 round because I thought Bernard Hopkins won the round, so he loses a point. So, 7-1, 1 even, 88-79, Bernard Hopkins.
And look out, Echols is about to land in our laps. Now he goes to the other side.
Kid Dynamite is getting blown up.
This is a definitely exciting and dramatic fight because anything can happen and is happening tonight.
Let's see if Bernard deducts a point from the referee.
Yeah.
This is a rough, tough prize fight. It ain't pretty, but it's serious.
Now Echols is trying the same move that Hopkins has been using on him all night now.
John L. Sullivan and Jake Kilrain fought the last bare knuckles prize fight in this country in 1888.
Oh, no!
I don't think he wants to fight anymore. The referee did the exact right thing. He stopped fighting. He was looking for help from the referee, and Bernard Hopkins jumped him.
So Hopkins, with a display of courage, assertiveness, or foolhardiness, take your pick, fights through what could have been a disqualification in his favor, and winds up making it pay off.
But I tell you what, Antoine Echols is one tough guy, and I have a lot of respect for him tonight. In fact, he was not knocked out still. He fought, it was dangerous all the way up to the end of the fight. He's getting his experience in championship fights by fighting Hopkins, and if they fight one more time, it would probably be the same identical fight, and probably in each fight, Echols is going to improve some.
If I'm Hopkins and they tell me I have to fight Echols again, I'm retired. All right? Enough. What else do I have to prove? That, incidentally, is the 12th consecutive successful middleweight championship defense for Hopkins, which ties him with Marvin Hagler 2 away from the record held by Carlos Monzon. Larry, here's another look at what happened at the end.
Yeah, Echols looked like he was looking for help from the referee, and I just think he was dazed, he was confused.
See, now,
he wasn't protecting himself.
But the referee could have taken advantage of the first blow that landed and actually took points away.
But there was no reason for it. He hadn't granted him timeout.
Yeah, there was no timeout, no stoppage of any kind. Maybe Echols didn't know that, but it didn't look like a foul of any kind to me.
No, I think Echols was looking for a way out. He was spending more time talking to the referee than he was fighting at this point in time.
All right, let's go to Mark Barrow for the official particulars on a wild and woolly fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, the time, 1 minute, 42 seconds of the 10th round. The referee stops the contest. The winner by technical knockout and still IBF middleweight champion of the world, Bernard
So Hopkins gets another middleweight championship defense, and now we'll go down the street to Mandalay Bay tomorrow night, and we'll go to the winners' news conference after Trinidad Vargas and try to call out whoever won the fight. Final punch stat numbers, and you can see that Hopkins landed 107 more blows than did Echols. He threw 70 more punches. He landed at a much higher connect percentage. And the gaps will be likewise in Hopkins' favor in the power punch categories. 167 out of 361 to 78 out of 233. Judges' scorecards at the time of the stoppage, Hopkins was leading 89-78, 89-78, 89-78. What chance was there that in a fight that wild with all those fouls, all three judges would have the same score, Emmanuel?
But you know what? Even though the fight was exciting and to some degree one-sided, it was a dangerous fight all the time for Hopkins.
You know, I was going to say, the last bare knuckles prize fight in this country, John L. Sullivan versus Jake Kilrain, 111 years ago, it was 76 rounds of brutal, bloody action, and this was one of the roughest fights since then, you know?
This is the roughest middleweight fight that I have ever saw, and I thought that Marvin Hagler's fight with Juan Rodin, and even Thomas Hearns' fight with Juan Rodin, but this is the roughest middleweight fight that I have ever saw.
Let's go into the ring to Larry Merchant.
All right, thank you very much, Jim. Bernard, congratulations. You wanted to finish this one faster than the first one, and you did, but it was a really rough fight. Why?
Larry, thanks. I'd like to thank HBO, Kerry Davis, the new suits in town with Mr. Goldberg, and I'd like to thank HBO and happy holiday, Kwanzaa, Christmas, and New Year's. It was a rough and tough fight. This guy here, Antoine Echols, is a legitimate #1 contender. It's not like the bogus #1 contenders in other ratings divisions, even though I think I shouldn't have been fighting him this soon. And we spoke about it a couple of days ago. But again, I like to show my superstar status. I like to set example for tomorrow. I know Don King is watching. I know Felix Trinidad is watching, staying up late. Sorry, guys, to keep y'all up, but I will be at the Mandalay Bay tomorrow, and hopefully I can be doing a little interview with Larry Merchant and HBO, because I want the winner at 54, 60, or Roy Jones at 68.
All right, let's talk about tonight's fight first. Okay, early in the fight, he spun around and you hit him in the back of the head. You could have been penalized for that, right?
Yes, I mean, I could have been penalized for that. I mean, you know, this is a fight. I mean, it is boxing, but when you're fighting, if it was some sticks and stones and bottles like in the street of Philadelphia, I might have got disqualified for hitting him over the head with one of them hard as he punched. But yeah, you know, I try to keep as clean as possible, Larry. And, you know, it's a fight. It's a fight in a boxing match, and that's the referee job to make some order in there.
All right, let's go to the 6th round, and you tell us what happened, how you felt when he picked you up as he did here in frustration and tossed you over.
Well, first, I was surprised that he was that strong to pick me up. And second, I fell on my shoulder. And as one of the cameramen said, and I felt it, of course, something snapped like out of my joint. It wasn't broken or anything. I don't think. I'm not a doctor. But I can't use it right now. And I can't lift it up past my head. But I was willing to do what Tyrone Biggs did 11 to 10 years ago when I seen him fight with one hand. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Crazy as myself. Say, thank Larry. I thought about Tyrone Biggs fighting with one hand, and I said no. I mean, it's deja vu again. Every time I come to Vegas, it's never a finished fight.
All right, now you want to keep the fight. Are you afraid that somehow the officials are going to take this away from you if you don't continue on, if you don't fight him in the ring?
Yes, I mean, you know, a champion's supposed to win. They fight when they belt in the ring.
Right, when you go back to our understanding is if you couldn't go on, that you would have won the fight because it was a deliberate foul and you were way ahead in the scoring anyway. Now, did your corner tell you that?
Yeah, they told me that, but I'm in Vegas. And things strange happen in Vegas, and I ain't want to take that chance, Larry. I want to finish because I'm a true champion, and I don't want no doubts tomorrow morning when I read the newspaper.
Okay.
I finished with one arm, Larry. I finished with one arm tonight. I finished this 12th defense, breaking Marvin Hagler's record, with one arm.
All right, now at the end of the fight, Echols is obviously hurt and a little dazed. He turns away from you and looks to the referee. The referee doesn't do anything. He's standing there wide open. You belt him.
Of course. I mean, I wish you'd have did that the first round. It would have been easier. Hey, look, protect yourself at all times. And he's not going to disrespect me and look the other way. And I'm supposed to be a nice guy. This is a do-or-die situation. This is at war. And you either live or die in war. And I'm willing to live.
One last question.
Anytime.
Vargas or Trinidad?
Both. I don't care. Any one of them.
Who's going to win the fight?
I like Trinidad late, and I like Vargas early. But you know what, though, Larry? No matter what, none of them will fight me because, I don't know, Mexicans and Puerto Ricans supposed to be proud people. I respect them. I got a lot of friends. But I want them to know that they heroes don't want to fight Bernard Hopkins. I'm 35 years old. I'll be 36 January 15th. And I'm just getting on Geritol, and I'm feeling pains. And they still won't fight me.
Thank you very much, Bernard.
Happy holiday.
Just as final thought, whoever the Grinches were who stole the middleweight division, this gentleman right here, Bernard Hopkins, has helped to find it again. And tomorrow night, we'll see some more middleweights, and you can make up your own mind who belongs on the top. But until somebody beats Bernard Hopkins in the ring one way or another, he is the best middleweight